Hello everyone and welcome to my GH Soap Opera Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. GH spoilers. Curtis confronts Isaiah, accusing him of failing to stop at the wreck. According to General Hospital spoilers and updates, Curtis Ashford and Isaiah Gannon will face off in a future episode of the ABC soap opera. Curtis has some serious accusations after learning that Isaiah was also on Route 91 that evening when he and Jordan Ashford were pulled off the road. Isaiah had been assisting Lulu Spencer in making a house call for Rocco Falconeri. That evening, Isaiah was at the cabin with Portia Robinson when he received a call asking him to make a house call for Lulu Spencer. In addition to having a temperature, Rocco Falconeri's hand injury had begun to exhibit red lines, which is an indication of a dangerous infection. Isaiah was compelled to accept the uncommon request because Lucky Spencer had been his best buddy during their time abroad, and Lulu wanted it to remain a secret. Isaiah experienced a slight delay since, in addition to Jordan and Curtis, Danny Morgan and Charlotte Cassidine were also traveling that evening due to vehicle issues. Although it appears that Jordan and Curtis actually collided with Brooklyn Quartermain Chase, someone might have noticed Isaiah's car driving by at the moment. Isaiah didn't even see Jordan's car, despite being late at Lulu's house. Isaiah's delayed arrival at Lulu's house may have been due to onlooker delay in the event of heavy traffic, and Jordan's car may not have been in the cause. Given that Curtis and Jordan had veered off the road, it might have been the result of people passing where Danny and Charlotte were, and they most likely waved them on. Carly Spencer and Valentine Cassadine stopped to search for Danny and Charlotte, and Valentine assisted them before the automobile completely exploded and caught fire. Curtis only got cuts, but she needs someone to blame. Jordan's burns occurred as the car was beginning to heat up, and her face also passed through the driver's side glass. Isaiah is confronted by Curtis for failing to stop and provide assistance. Even though Curtis spent almost all of his time at the hospital, he somehow finds out that Isaiah was passing them on the road before Carly and Valentine arrived. Even though it's not his inquiry, it seems like he exploits his former investigative abilities to obtain, or possibly hack into, traffic cam footage from the road. He confronts Isaiah about after discovering, or perhaps having footage of, Isaiah passing by on his way to Lulu's to heal Rocco. Curtis is furious with the surprised surgeon for failing to stop and provide assistance, even though it's not obvious that he observed the crash. Isaiah is naturally angered by Curtis's allegations because he shares everyone else's distress about Jordan's injuries. Spoilers for General Hospital. Rocco tells Britt that he shot Colum. According to General Hospital spoilers for the week of April 20 to 24, Rocco Falconeri might admit to Britt Westbourne that he shot Ross Colum. In the just-released weekly trailer for General Hospital, Rocco is seen telling an unidentified person Jason didn't shoot Agent Cullum. Thus, there's a significant chance he will tell Britt. After all, Britt was certain that Jason Morgan had nothing to do with the shooting of the WSB double agent. Therefore, she has been attempting to determine who actually did it. Britt has been having trouble understanding why Jason would accept responsibility for the crime. In particular, Britt is aware that even if Jason had shot Cullum, he would not confess to the crime. Immediately following the shooting, Jason was taken by the WSB to unidentified locations and was not acting like himself. Many characters have noted that Jason would not have been so careless as to have been caught if he had shot Cullum. Additionally, if Jason had shot Cullum, he would not be recuperating in the hospital. Instead, he would be in the mortuary. As a result, Britt has not been pleased with the entire situation since it occurred. In the next days, Rocco is scheduled to perform some volunteer work at the hospital. Fans may remember that he was sentenced to community service and probation for breaking into PCU Professor Henry Hank Dalton's lab a few months ago. He is currently completing these hours at the hospital. The two will inevitably cross paths as he will be in Britt's workplace. But how will the topic of Colin's shooting even come up? Rocco is shown entering Colin's sick room in the GH ad. suggesting that he will also become close to the WSB director. Given that Rocco will undoubtedly feel both uncomfortable and afraid, will he get a panic attack once he exits the room? Will he meet Britt immediately after this? It's possible that Rocco is so upset over his talk with Callum that he tells Britt the truth. Additionally, Rocco can overhear Britt conversing with Lucas Jones and then interrupt. In any case, Rocco is overcome with guilt at Jason accepting responsibility for something he did and the consequences Jason is facing for shooting a high-ranking WSB official. Will Britt be the person the teenage boy is wanting to confide in, aside from his mother, Lulu Spencer? When Britt discovers that Jason was covering for her surrogate son, she will find herself in a difficult situation. Jason's desire to keep Rocco safe will satisfy her curiosity about why he took the fall for Callum's shooting. Because he did this for Rocco, Britt will also see Jason as a greater hero. However, this will also put her in a difficult situation if she tries to clean Jason's name or exonerate him. According to General Hospital spoilers, Britt's world is going to get difficult this week, so viewers will need to pay attention to see how she responds to Rocco's reality and what she decides to do next. General Hospital spoilers: a scandalous affair is about to break Kevin's heart. Viewers are undoubtedly interested in the growing relationship between Ezra Boyle and Laura Collins, according to General Hospital spoilers and updates. Kevin Collins is currently absent due to his trip to Dublin, which heightens the curiosity. Laura is most likely overwhelmed and lonely. Laura admits that it's ultimately for the best, but she's clearly struggling with emotions of stress and loneliness. Ezra is also dealing with his own feelings of stress and loneliness, so Kevin and Ace Cassadine should avoid Jane Sidwell for the time being. The episode consistently emphasizes how Ezra and Laura end up in circumstances involving Sidwell that they would prefer to avoid. Although there has been a noticeable attempt to show Ezra as less of the conventional sleaze and more vulnerable, he occasionally exhibits dubious judgment. For example, when Laura offered him a place to stay to sober up, he joked inebriatedly that they might have an intimate encounter. Fans are spreading scandalous theories. Will there be an affair? However, the audience's scandalous theories are being fueled by precisely these kinds of instances. It is feasible that Laura and Ezra are about to have an affair since they are now spending more time together in different scenes. Laura is excited to work with Ezra to resolve their shared Sidwell situation. A relationship is developing that, if the authors of GH decide to take the story in that route, might easily turn into something romantic. Unquestionably, Laura is beginning to grow fond of Ezra. Laura is showing Ezra more tenderness and compassion. In the April 16 episode, Laura showed Ezra some tender affection by covering him with a blanket after he fell asleep on the sofa. With all of this show is undoubtedly moving in a certain direction. It's certain that Laura and Ezra's growing friendship will cause some trouble. The only issue is what kind of trouble. It's possible that Ezra's fear of becoming just another victim will come true. If things go south and Sidwell kills Ezra, Laura might feel bad about their collaboration. On the other hand, it's also feasible that Laura and Ezra may work well together. Nevertheless, if they cross a boundary of passion, Kevin may experience some pain down the road. Spoilers for General Hospital. Liz deciphers Drew's SOS Morse code, putting everything at risk to save X. According to General Hospital spoilers for the week of April 20 to 24, Elizabeth Liz Baldwin may be able to decipher Drew Kane's SOS Morse code. Will she go to any lengths to assist her ex-boyfriend? According to General Hospital teasers, Liz will pay Drew a visit on Thursday, April 23. Liz, the kind nurse, will raise an eyebrow at the added teases that suggest he will be blinking frantically. Willow Kane has been quite busy with her congressional responsibilities, so it's likely that Liz stops by to see her before being left by herself with Drew. Since blinking is his sole means of communication, Drew has been attempting to convey a message to anyone who will notice. Liz might be able to figure out that anything is wrong if she is given the opportunity to have a meaningful conversation with him. Having said that, Liz won't be able to change Drew's attitude even if she is interrupted. Even if Willow or Nina Reeves try to brush the whole thing off, Liz may be unable to stop thinking about Drew's blinking. When Drew initially arrived in town, Liz dated him and mistook him for Jason Morgan. Even though Liz doesn't like how much Drew has changed, she is a compassionate person who can't get rid of the notion that he needs assistance. Because of their history, she might also recall that Drew's Navy SEAL training made him an expert in Morse code. She might come to the conclusion that Drew's quick eye movements, once for a yes and again for no, are not strange or strange, but rather a kind of message. Liz is a nurse herself, after all. If Drew couldn't blink to communicate, no doctor or other medical expert could possibly tell his loved ones that he could. They would also look at the cause of the fast blinking, right? Liz might become extremely suspicious of all this logic, but she always has the courage to go above and beyond to seek answers to the nurse's queries. Is Elizabeth the key of saving Drew? Will she, however, share her conjectures with Willow or Nina? However, there is always this possibility that Elizabeth will learn that Nina and Willow are up to no good when she is in the house during that particular visit. Blink all you want, Drew. No one is going to save you, Nina says, standing over Drew in the weekly preview. Liz would only need to be in a different room listening to realize that Drew needed assistance and to keep Willow and Nina in the dark about the whole situation. It will be interesting to watch how this plot develops because General Hospital spoilers suggest that little nurse Liz may be the force that ultimately brings Big Bad Willow down by assisting Drew. Cassius is insulted, Willow rules Port Charles, and Callum hides his trail. While Willow Kane makes full use of her strong position, Ross Callum will try to conceal his track. In the upcoming episodes, Cassius Payson, also known as Fake Nathan West, will also take offense over something, so let's talk about what to expect. Now that he's back in town, Ethan Lovett plans to get back in touch with Christina Corinthos Davis and reportedly look for work with Sony Corinthos. According to GH spoilers, Sony will take a chance shortly after, which might involve Ethan and any plot against Jane Sidwell that may be in the works. Additionally, Sony will have a difficult encounter with Alexis Davis, who might have some follow-up questions after learning of Danny Morgan's attempt to join the mob via Rick Lansing. Additionally, Nina Reeves will continue her collaboration with Valentine Cassadine and provide Jack Brennan with the information Valentine desires. Carly Spencer will be compelled to join even though she won't appreciate that Valentine asked Nina for assistance. Willow will confront Michael Corinthos angrily and tell him to keep Jacinda Bracken away from the children or else there will be consequences. In the upcoming episodes, Willow will use her influence, thus it's possible that she will soon use her connections against Michael and Jacinda. When Elizabeth Baldwin drops by, Drew Kane will also have an unexpected guest. Will he attempt to convey that something is amiss? Britt Westbourne will learn some information that will profoundly worry her while Curtis Ashford and Isaiah Gannon engage in a tense exchange. Given that Rocco Falconari was the one who shot Callum, this will probably implicate his shooter guilt. Speaking of Callum, he will have to deal with more inquiries when Dante pays him another visit. When it comes to Marco Rios' death and his double agent story, Callum will make sure to hide his tracks, but Dante will still be wary. Tracy Quatermain will be shocked to learn that Ethan has returned to Port Charles while Rick seeks Alexis's counsel. Tracy and Ethan will be able to test each other on their present life as a result. When he returns with Valentine, he will issue a warning and possibly ensure that Nina stays as secure as possible while she is tricking Brennan. We'll see who makes the critical remark, Britt, Sidwell, or Callum, because Cassius will also be offended by something. Giovanni Gio Palmieri and Emma Scorpio Drake will finally go on a romantic vacation together. You can expect them to visit Broadway Aladdin and spend time backstage with Michael James Scott, who plays Genie. Emma and Gio will undoubtedly have a great time, according to General Hospital spoilers, so keep checking back. GH's most unexpected redemption story could be Ezra. Now that his shortcomings are viewed as the features where change can start rather than as comedic devices, Ezra is more fascinating. For long, Ezra was viewed by General Hospital as a political annoyance with poor timing and even worse instincts. Then the program began dissecting him. The horror surrounding Seatbelt followed the panic beneath the bluster, followed by something even stranger, decency, or at least the memory of it. In the end, a character who appeared to be designed for ridicule was standing close to something much more intriguing. It's possible that GH is making Ezra into an improbable tale of salvation. Ezra was transformed from an annoyance to a possible ally because to Laura's trust. The character's path was altered when Ezra offered to spy on Seatbelt. Ezra's desperation might pose a greater threat to Seatbelt than anyone anticipated. The buffoon began to resemble a human. Ezra did not abruptly become a noble person. It resulted from the play making him appear little afraid and acutely aware that he had gotten too close to the wrong man. He might have been humiliated by his inebriated tirade at the brown dog. Instead, the event was completely turned upside down when Laura dragged him home, refused to destroy him with the tape. She shot off his outburst and heard him acknowledge that he might have assisted Seatbelt in framing her. That was not the ranting of a cartoon villain. That was a man realizing how disposable he is. The part that made you sit up came next. Ezra volunteered rather than merely confessing. When Laura suggested that he find out why Seatbelt is paddling for a helicopter flight plan in the city, he agreed to take a chance. Suddenly, the same man who appeared to be about to fall apart was agreeing to spy on a global criminal. To seal the deal, he and Laura even gave each other fist bumps. Additionally, he might pose a threat to Seatbelt. A compromised individual typically decides that enough is enough at the start of redemption stories. Ezra continues to be sleek. Panic is still a possibility for him. However, the show began to address those characteristics as flaws rather than as punchlines. That type of writing is distinct. Another argument is that a desperate Ezra might be more beneficial than a polished one. He has been crushed by the pressure points, so he knows where they are. When men finally realize they are disposable, they might become unpredictable, which isn't always a bad thing for those who oppose a tyrant. It is sometimes the way the first block falls free. Here too, Laura is important. When she had the chances, she chose not to expose him. Instead, she offered him a lifeline. That decision may reveal just as much about Laura as it does about Ezra, but it also set the necessary condition for redemption stories. Someone seeing more in a character than the audience has been taught to see. That's traditional soap fuel. To be honest, it's not a diversion of if jerky. Ezra, who started out as the slimy idiot everyone liked to roll their eyes at, ends up contributing to Seatbelt's downfall. That's soap catnip doing what it does best. Occasionally, the idiot can surprise everyone by saving the day. What does a name mean? The actor, whose real name was Nathan Dean Parsons, revealed that he had originally intended to go by Nathan Dean because it rolls off the tongue better. And it's a little shout out to James Dean, who one of my favorite. However, since there was already a Nathan Dean in the Screen Actors Guild, the union that represents television actors, he decided to go by Nathan Person instead. But after a few years, he discovered that performers are not required to be acknowledged using the same name that appears on their SAG card. Thus, he has been credited as Nathan Dean since his 2019 to 2022 tenure on the primetime series Roswell, New Mexico. Dean clarified it was a big role, a new opportunity and sort of a way to reinvent myself. And we are currently working on getting it done legally. Eventually, it will be very official and we'll proceed from there. However, it's awesome that I can return to General Hospital under my new name. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel without missing any update.